here with Alana Woolf. So it is Wellness Posse Wednesdays. Thanks for joining me again. It is where I talk to some of my favorite wellness professionals because we're trying to really elevate the conversation about what real wellness is, change it from quick fix, self-hate to real transformation and self-love. And so I met Alana through my bestie Mark Castle, and we really connected on a lot of different levels, kind of shared ideas about what wellness means to us, and kind of our journeys are very similar, as you'll hear. But introduce yourself to the Wellness Posse.
Hello, Wellness Posse. My name is Alana Woolf, and I teach at Ride Indoor Cycling downtown. I also work as a personal stylist, and what else do you want to know?
She is super stylish. The first time I met her, I think, was at a pool party, and she was wearing something like insanely fashionable, and I was like, you should not be in Austin, Texas. You should be on like in LA or somewhere very poshy with your awesomeness.
Well, thank you.
Yes, she's gorgeous and fabulous. So we're gonna just kind of break on into our normal questions. So how would you kind of sum up your like wellness philosophy in a few sentences? Like, what's your general idea around what it means to be kind of healthy and happy in general wellness?
Confidence, self-love, owning your ability to love yourself, I think, is the biggest part for me. Finding what works for you, trusting your internal compass, and listening to that above anything else.
What was kind of your path to get you to this place, and to kind of get you kind of in the wellness field in general? You seem like you've kind of maybe had a few different, careers and course corrections past lives and all of the above, as have I. Been a very, very windy road. So what kind of brought you to where you are now?
So I moved to Austin, Texas, almost 6 years ago. In July, it would be 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here not knowing what I was going to do. I had worked in fashion for my whole life. I ran into an old friend, and she was telling me that she moved to Austin, and I was asking her about it, and she's like, it's great, I just drink margaritas by the pool all day. And I was like,
oh, isn't that what we all do?
Totally planted a seed in my head, and I was like, there was a point where I just needed to change, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to move to Austin. Never been here before, just kind of went for it.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in Baltimore, but I had lived in New York for 3.5 years before that.
Okay.
I guess cumulatively probably about 4 years. But then I moved here I just sold everything I had and moved here with basically nothing, no job, and made it work. And so ended up here, still in fashion, and I went through a breakup. As most stories start. Went through a breakup, and the best time to start a transformation, I think, is through a huge life change like that.
Completely.
And so I remember one day I just picked up and I called my boss. I was working at Nordstrom at the time, and I was like, hey, I have to go to the beach. And so I just went to Port Aransas by myself for 3 days, and it was the first time I had ever really taken control of my life. And it was a moment that was like incredibly freeing for me. It was like, oh, okay, I can just say no to work and say yes to my life and take control over the fact that like I needed some time. I needed to reflect, I needed to check in with myself, and it was a great opportunity to do that. Came back from Port Aransas, back into my life. It was a little messy for a while. Ended up dating someone new, and took my first spin class on August 24th.
She knows the date, guys.
2013. It was my first ever time working out.
Really?
I never worked out during my life.
Oh my gosh.
Full-time chain smoker, pack a day. Took this class. It was the most terrifying thing. I was so prepared, had my whole outfit picked out. I spent, I think, about 3 days with my coworkers figuring out what I was going to wear. And I went to this class, and I hated it. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done, and it was so embarrassing. I was sitting on the front row, and I couldn't do any of it. And I was like, why can't I do this? I am an excellent dancer, I have excellent rhythm, and it was all because I had zero fitness level, like zero fitness capability at all. And so I left and I was like, I'm never doing that again. So maybe like 2 days later, I started working out. And I went to the gym in my little apartment complex and was on the elliptical for like, an hour a day, just trying to do something. And eventually went back, I think it was 2 months later, went back to a spin class, and that's where it started.
Wow, I love that story. I've never heard that story. That's amazing. I know we have discussed privately kind of the conversation that we hear most wellness professionals have with their clients, and that we wish that conversation was different. What are the ways that you wish people would talk to their clients about wellness to kind of stop this cycle that we so see with our clients of self-hate and all or nothing, and juice fast right before I go to the beach, all those kind of perpetual kind of, instead of breaking yourself down instead of building yourself up. What conversations you wish were happening that you don't really hear that much?
Why do you want it? Why?
Oh.
What's the goal? And then break that down even further, because I think it comes a lot deeper than I want to lose 20 pounds. Why do you want to lose 20 pounds? What are you doing yourself? Figure out the patterns, the unhealthy habits, and where they come from. I think that's the most important piece.
Yeah, I think a lot of people tell you goals going into fitness, and if you're not aware enough or haven't done your own work enough as a wellness professional, it's often scary to go in and ask, well, what is that need that you really have? What are those things that you're really telling yourself, those terrible stories that you've perpetuated through this, I can't, only when I'm this will I be lovable, will people actually like me, will I actually love myself? I know that we see a lot of that.
For sure.
What do you think, like, if you had to give people like your top 3 things that you feel like most people could do that would have the biggest impact on their health and wellness, what do you think those things would be?
Take a walk.
Oh, I love that.
Like, seriously, just go for a walk. If you're stuck in your head, which we all end up doing, get stuck in whatever conversation you're having, just go for a walk. It's active, it's freeing, you're in nature, you're connecting with nature. Take a walk. Ask the question one more time.
What,
3 things.
3 things that people could do, that most people could do, that would have the biggest impact on kind of changing their health or wellness.
Shut off your phone.
Yeah. What part of technology do you feel like is having the hardest impact on people right now that you see?
There's a constant disconnection.
With the real conversation with real people around you?
There's no awareness. There's like, you're not even interacting with your salesperson anymore. People come into I work at a store, and people will come in and they'll be on their phone literally the whole time. It's like, I don't even get a chance to greet them. It's like, why? Why'd you even come in? Just wanted a place to pace around? Like, I don't know. I think disconnecting from that and reconnecting in nature.
In real life. With real people.
With real people. Yes, exactly.
I remember when me and you and Mark went to get sushi that time, and all of us were really conscious about
our phones.
We made sure that we not only, because the thing is, the science behind it is, even if your phone is off and it's sitting face down, it's a distraction. Like, because it's there. It's this dopamine fix. I mean, they have made technology so addictive on purpose, just like everything else.
Well, it makes everything so fast.
Yeah.
It's like everything's accessible right here, right now.
Yeah, and it's this whole, what else could be happening? Like, I might be missing something. It's that FOMO all the fucking time. Yeah, I'm here with my best friends and we're having a real conversation, but what if something amazing is happening on my phone that I might be missing? And I found that even, really taking that time to put them away, like put them in another area, put them so you cannot see them, so you cannot touch them. Within 5 minutes, everybody slows the fuck down.
Yeah.
They start making eye contact again. They're actually listening, and a lot of us have lost. I mean, even people that didn't really grow up with technology. I didn't have it when I was young. But now even just having it for the
And
last
it's like,
10
are you
years.
even like retaining anything? Like,
No.
oh, I have this question. Oh, just Google it, right? You Google it, and then you like lose the thought immediately. You don't even remember what you Googled. You Googled it so that you could tell the people around you. No one remembers the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, probably half the time.
For sure.
I'm trying to think of the last thing I Googled. Forgot.
I love looking at my Google searches.
I mean,
I'm like,
so-
what is wrong with me?
What was I doing?
What was I
What's
doing?
happening?
Why does Google think I'm some weirdo? One more thing. Do you have another?
Try something new.
Mm-hmm. How often do you try to do that? Do you make it like a point? Like, are you conscious about it, or are you just like
I try
in
to
the
be.
moment?
I
Yeah.
try to be. Usually when I start to get, I mean, I feel like it mostly just starts with that internal. That's why I'm like, that internal dialogue. That was immediately where I went. Like, how do you change your life? You change the conversation. So
Yeah.
the internal conversation, how do you do that? Shut off your phone, go for a walk, try something new,
Yeah,
right?
completely.
Could be shutting off your phone.
That could
or
be
going
the
for a
something
walk.
new.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. What's the last new thing you tried?
The last new thing that I tried.
It can be a part of the end.
Come back to it.
Yeah, I can't wait. We bought ukuleles. That's our new thing.
That's awesome.
Ukuleles. I took guitar lessons in college. Never played the guitar since college, but I figured a ukulele only has 4 strings, so it can't be that hard. Start a little family band. What's the wellness myth you wish you could bust immediately?
Huh. I don't know. Probably that if you do spin, you're gonna get big legs or something. I don't know. Only because it's the most.
Do you hear that?
Yes.
Oh, let's
My-
talk about muscle
My
muscle
quads
building.
are gonna get big. I'm gonna have big butt. You know.
Let's hold on. As a personal trainer, let me just let you know. Spinning is never going to get your legs built. It won't. Muscle goes on with heavy leg strength exercises. That is not what spinning is. Spinning is an endurance sport. So you're basically getting your heart rate really up, you're burning a lot of calories, but you're not going to put on muscle. Your legs could get more tone, so hence they could look bigger because you might actually get a quad sweep, which looks very sexy in shorts. Your ass might get a little more shapely,
Which looks great in a dress.
which looks nice in a dress, and you're actually going to get some calves, which is really nice too, because actually the one muscle that does respond to endurance riding is your calf muscle, so they actually sometimes will put on size and definitely will get some more definition. So let's just clear that one up immediately. Do not be scared of spinning, especially dance spinning, which is seriously
Yes.
so fucking fun.
It's literally the best
It
thing.
is so fun. I hate group training classes. Let me just tell you, I hate them because I've been a trainer my whole life. I'm like, I'm not going to go to some class where somebody's going to tell me what to do. The first time I went to spinning, I think I laughed like the whole time. Like Mark is teaching me, and
Mark's
I'm like,
class?
yeah,
He
yeah,
makes me laugh so
yeah.
hard.
And he's goofy. And he's playing like freaking gangster rap, and it is so fun. It is
Or
like
birthday bitch.
exactly. It's like club dancing on a bicycle. If you are in a bad mood, seriously, go to a spin class. There's no way you can walk out of a spin
It's-
class in a bad
It's
mood.
for ex-partiers. That's what I always say.
It is. It's like clubbing on
Yes.
Saturday morning.
Yes.
It is so
You
fun.
get your
I've
club
taken
fix.
a lot of my ex-party girls to ride, and it is so, so, so fun. Mark is one of my ex-party girls. He's actually one of my current party girls. to be honest, too. So we've also talked about kind of the dirty little secret behind the curtain is that no wellness professional wants to admit it how much many of us struggle or have struggled with self-image issues, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Alcoholism, drug abuse. We tend to have addictive personalities in general. And so we all struggle with that. Nobody really wants to admit that. That's one reason I'm having this conversation. So what times in your life have you felt like you've struggled with keeping your wellness on track, and what do you feel like is the way in which you got it back on track?
Do you want a specific example?
You can, or you can just give me general.
I just think generally, it all stems from self-worth, self-image, self-love, which I think we all struggle with
as humans.
Yeah.
What ways do you find have helped you with your self-love journey?
Stepping outside of myself, right? I feel like we tend to be so critical and put this spotlight on ourselves, but like, seriously, how selfish is that? So like, the moment you step away from yourself and start to step forward and maybe show for someone else is usually when I start to gain my self-worth again.
Completely. Yeah, that whole happiness really comes from giving. Giving is to another person, but giving is as big of a gift to yourself. When you're showing up for somebody else, you really are kind of filling up that bank again of you have something to offer. There's a connection. You have stuff to give to other people. You know, most of the time that is received with gratitude, which then makes you feel, there's all these chemical things happening in your brain at the same time as actually emotionally things. A lot of times self-hate is coming from a feeling of disconnection, and disconnection can be solved very easily by giving to others. So I love that.
To that point,
yes,
I think that's really important, but I also find it incredibly beneficial to spend one day a week with literally no responsibilities, nothing. Don't plan anything. Like, just take care of you.
Yes, self-care.
Spoil the shit out of yourself one day a week.
Yes. Can we all do that?
Doesn't even have to be spending a lot of money. It can just be like,
it can be going to Barton Springs and hanging out and reading a book. It can be taking a nice bath.
Whatever you need, whatever your, I don't know, team, whatever you call it, is telling you to do.
I think that's a big part of kind of what you were saying in the beginning is, number one, listening to yourself and trusting that intuition to guide you to what you actually need, which I think a lot of people don't trust themselves to have that kind of download happen and to follow those.
Download. No, totally.
Have you always trusted that inner voice? Has that been something that you've...
It's always been incredibly loud for me. My intuition, yes. But no, I haven't always trusted it. There was a really dark period of my life where I hid every part of myself, and I think that's part of why I tend to shy away from fashion in a big way, because I feel like it can be like a really beautiful mask. And you can put this on, and then it's like people only ever wanted to talk to me about what I was wearing, the way that I looked, and it's like, God, I was just dying to talk about what's here, and like wanted people to want to know about that part of me.
Yeah, I find that very similar in the fitness industry, is that it's such an external industry. It's all about how you look and what you're eating, and what your Instagram likes are and all this stuff. And so many of us are scared to have the real conversation of what we're actually struggling with. And a lot of people don't want to engage. The amount of wellness professionals that I ask to talk about this topic and that will do it in public is so small, I cannot even tell you. Yet it comes up over and over again. Everybody will agree with me that this is a huge issue, and that everybody knows 5 fitness people that are struggling with eating disorders right now, but nobody will talk about it.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be their approach, and that's the thing. There can be a different approach for everybody. My approach includes that, because I think that is, I think that's essential to growth.
Yeah, I think that transparency and honesty, especially even if you don't want to do it in a public forum, is really important in order to self-heal. because anybody who's lived in shameland like I have,
Totally.
it survives with you lying and hiding yourself. It survives with this front, and as soon as you start talking about it, those curtains come down and you're allowed to reconnect with people. But living in that shame bubble of just lying to everybody and telling everybody that you're great and beautiful is really a sad, lonely, dark place for many people.
It can be.
Yeah. And so I really challenge people that even if you don't want to do it in a public forum, to really take an opportunity to find either a professional or somebody close to you to kind of, if you are struggling, to really try to open up those
Reach out to me, I'll listen.
Oh, see, she's awesome. So do you follow any kind of wellness professionals or listen to podcasts or books that you like kind of on health, or is that something you don't really do?
I'm actually more into philosophy.
Ooh.
And spirituality is more kind of my, I don't know. Yeah.
What are some, can you give us some people or books that you like to follow, or podcasts or anything?
So I have a few people that I follow on YouTube. I have an angel card reader.
Oh, I was
I really
talking about
like her.
angel cards a minute ago with a client.
Well, maybe you should follow her. She's amazing. Her name is Michelle Patterson, and her channel is Angel Souls 444. She does angel card readings once a week, and then she does market readings. I have a tarot card reader. She's out of Italy. Randomly came across her. I love her. Her name is Christelle Martinet, and follow her as well. And then sometimes I'll listen to Abraham Hicks, and if I'm in a really kind of dark place and need to like regain my like power, I'll listen to that. And then yeah, there's a bunch of different people I listen to.
We'll put all the links in the show notes so that y'all, if y'all are interested in any of that y'all can kind of go see what she's talking about. I don't think a lot of people know what angel cards are. I actually didn't know until very recently, and I have I have to share this very cute story that I just had with my client Ellen. And she was saying she was hiring a virtual assistant and she didn't know how to hire it, so she pulled an angel card, and it was peace. And so then she went on the VA website and had just pulled a bunch of people, and she looked at one girl. She's like, that girl seems interesting. She's from Vietnam, and she looked up what her name was, and her name meant peace in Vietnamese. And she goes, so I hired her, and she's been amazing.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend, who's this business guy, is like, lady, you're crazy. And she goes, it's working. I don't care. The angel sent her to me.
Yes, and you know that. Sure, someone might think it's crazy. Whatever.
Whatever works
Let 'em
for
think
you.
It's crazy. It works for me, and I have to trust that.
Yeah.
It hasn't. I mean, I haven't fallen yet.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that we really did connect on is there are a million different paths for everybody. Like, it is not my job to tell you what your path is. I can help you figure out and go through that.
Guide
You, ask you questions to maybe direct you. It's all about self-testing. It's all about listening to yourself. It's all about exploration. We're not here to like be like, this is the only way. I mean, there are people like that. I'm just not like that.
Not my style.
Not my style either. I don't like to tell people what to do. Okay, so now we're going into what's called the Wildfire Wellness Round.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound like we're on a game show? I like things that alliterate, so Wildfire Wellness Round I felt was good. So do you have a morning and evening routine?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
First thing when I wake up in the morning, first song that comes to my head or whatever comes into my head, I have a wall calendar.
Oh.
And I write it down on the day.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it'll make sense later in the day, sometimes it'll make sense a week later, but usually the song or some sort of lyrical content will have significance. Wake up and do that. Usually we'll listen to the song also while I'm taking a shower with sea salt soap. And this is a new thing. I went to buy new soap and I was like, I'm going to start taking a shower with sea salt in the morning. I don't know, it feels cleansing. It's like I always take a shower in the morning.
Yeah.
It's a detoxifier.
Yeah.
Those are my two really big things.
I love that. Do you have an evening routine?
Evening routine kind of varies depending on my day. I like to shower before I go to bed.
You shower when you go to bed and when you wake up?
I usually shower like a lot. I mean, you know,
You sweat a lot.
Yes, I sweat a ton, so I have to shower a lot.
Yeah. And it's very relaxing. I mean, a lot of people feel like it's meditative. My boyfriend showers like it's a meditation. Like it's his favorite thing in the whole world.
It's wonderful.
To wake up in the morning and he stands like this and like does his deep breathing and thinks about Stoic philosophy. He thinks it's the best thing.
Can we hang out with him?
Yes, we can.
Cool.
He's awesome. What's your spirit animal?
So that's a tricky one because it changes.
What's your current spirit animal?
The hawk.
Ooh, why the hawk?
It's been showing up for me. So I was driving to work.
In real life?
Yeah.
Cool.
There were 10 of them on, 10.
Whoa.
Like hanging out on the wires as I was driving to work.
Wow, that's cool. What do you feel like your superpower is?
Duality.
What's your sign?
Virgo.
Ah.
Aries moon.
Ah.
Leo rising.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Fire.
Fire. What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self? That's usually a big struggle time, especially for adolescent girls. What do you wish somebody would have said to you that maybe didn't get said? What if there is anything?
Try easy.
Try easy.
Stop trying so hard.
Yeah. Did you feel like you tried to force a lot of things that weren't a good fit?
For sure. I mean, I don't have the cookie cutter look. It's different. And I think for the longest time, it's interesting. It was actually a discussion yesterday. Just about even like plastic surgery and all that. There's a lot of vanity, and the idea of what beauty is so small. And my vision is bigger than that, but it wasn't always. And so, just dealing with a lot of insecurity about the way that I looked, and I think I was really hard on myself.
Do you feel like you're less hard on yourself now?
Yeah, I don't know what I look like. Like, I really don't. You look at me and you see something totally different. I mean, I've had people in my life that when I first met them, not attracted to them at all, fell madly in love with them, became literally the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So it's really like, I don't know what I look like. Yeah. I have no idea if your eyes see the same thing that my eyes see at all. What is the color green? I don't know.
That's so interesting. So that's basically it. But I want you to share with kind of the Wellness Posse what's coming up for you, where people can find you, and then any kind of final thoughts you have for everyone.
What's coming up for me? Well, you can find me at Ride Indoor Cycling. I teach regularly 6 classes a week, and you can find me at Valentine's too. I'm a personal stylist.
Oh, I didn't know that's where you work.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay, I do work there.
Yay.
Out of Davenport Village out in Westlake, and then also on Kirby Lane and 35th.
Cool.
Those cute little white houses. I'm there every once in a while.
Oh, fun.
But I also work freelance, and I am looking to get into life coaching. So,
I love this.
my approach will be different. We'll have spiritual elements and whatever you need.
Oh, well, maybe we can have you back and you can talk about that when you have a little more structure around it and what that program will look like.
That'll be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Wellness Posse. Great to see y'all this week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.